Okay, so everybody, welcome to day number 8 of our employment planning workshop. So today we're going to summarize what we've done the last 7 days and what we need to do. Hopefully everybody's read the description in the Google Plus event that was posted for now. That's primarily what we're going to talk about, but I'm going to tell the story before that. Please make sure to plus the event. Okay? So we just watched a video that was about the Oso Peninsula. Has anybody ever heard of that before? Anybody heard of Costa Rica?
Yes.
Okay, so everybody's heard of Costa Rica. In 1980, I was on a mission to drive to the tip of South America. So this is 1 year after graduating from college. So leaving from San Diego, driving all the way down to the tip of South America. I got about as far as South America, and it was just too much of a suicide mission. Okay, and literally, so this is 1 year after the revolution in Nicaragua. This was, I think, about 4 months after a bunch of nuns were killed in El Salvador. And so when we would come to the different countries in Central America, you would have to have a soldier ride with you. He wasn't there to protect you. He was there to make sure you weren't going to be part of some kind of a revolution. And so it was a very interesting time. We ended up going south and then coming back to Costa Rica. And myself and one other moron had this idea of we'll walk across the Oso Peninsula to get to the beach. And on a map, you know, it just looks like it's about that far, right? So first you have to take a boat from the mainland to the peninsula. And this is kind of like what you see in movies of Indiana Jones type movies. So it might be a 30-foot long boat that's this wide. So it's one person sitting in front of the other person. You might, you know, like you see in these movies about in the Middle East where they have these chickens and things on the roof. Well, here they have the chickens and they're holding them.
Oh, wow.
And you're 2 or 3 inches above the water line. And there's just an outboard motor on the back. And you're going across this bay. So we get out, we walk across, or we get out, and we start walking on the trail. And it's very mountainous. So maybe you saw or could get an idea from that video that it's not flat walking through this jungle. It's mountainous. So there's a mountain you have to walk up. So we said, okay, great. The mountain is only, you know, might take us a couple hours to get to the top of that. And by mountain, I don't mean, you know, it might be 1,000 or 2,000 feet, not anything huge. So, okay, it'll take us a couple hours to get to that. We'll be at the top, Pacific. We'll be on the other side. And we'll go to the beach. I brought my hammock, tie it up between 2 coconut trees, and, you know, be a lot of fun. So we start.
Super fun?
Well, we thought it would be fun. So we start walking. We get to the top. We get to the top, and here's what you bring in Costa Rica. This is in the late summer. So you have a machete. Everybody has their own machete, or, you know, it's kind of like here. You have a whole bunch of machetes based upon what you're going to do that day, where you're going to go. So real people have several machetes that are different weights and lengths, etc. And you have an umbrella because it rains there. That's what people carry around, and hat and boots. So we get to the top of this mountain, and instead of the Pacific, what do you think we see? Another mountain.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other side of the mountain. Yeah.
And we say, well, we've come this far. It's only going to take us about an hour to get down, and then another couple hours to get up, and we've come all this way. So we started in San Jose, Costa Rica. Had to take a bus to get there overnight. You stay in this little hovel, take the boat across the bay, start walking. We have a lot of time invested. So we walk, we're hacking our way through, and it's pretty much like clay. So it's not like the trail he said 7 hour walk on this trail. It's not like that at all. And the trail started big, and it's just increasingly getting more narrow.
Went back, yeah, turned around.
And ultimately it gets to a footpath. So we get down, we get up to the other side. It might be 5 o'clock now. And at the equator, the days aren't really long. It's not like at the North Pole where it doesn't get dark. So, and it's not like here. So we get down, we walk up to the hill, we stop before we get to the top of the hill and say, you know, gosh, that was hard, but you know, 25 more steps, we're going to be exhilarated, and we're just going to see this Pacific Ocean out there, and the sun and the clouds, because they have very picturesque sunsets in Costa Rica. Really bright colors, orange, etc. And then, as you can expect, we get there, and it's not the Pacific.
The other side of the mountain. Yeah.
It's another mountain ridge. So now we decide we're going to apply logic, which is
Get a helicopter coming.
that, okay, so that has to be the last one.
Sure.
Okay, that has, because this is, we looked at it on the map. It's only that far,
Yeah.
and we've
What's
come
the
most
scale?
of the way,
Yeah, all right.
and it didn't show a whole bunch of mountain ridges in between. Down, up, and now, you know, it's not really easy to be hacking machete all day long. Okay, and it's dark. You know, if you think about that jungle, that's what it was like. Well, it's, yeah, somewhat, but not, this is daylight, but it's dark. This is not like you're looking up to the sky. You can see little pinpoints of blue
Canopies above you.
through the jungle, okay? And it's a little bit scary. So ultimately, it gets dark, and we're still walking up. And then it gets to the point, it's so dark we just can't even see. We literally cannot see anything. Now the other moron brought a little butane Bunsen burner type thing, not a lamp, but to heat stuff. And I had a thing to clean water, you know, to disinfect water so you could drink. And I had my hammock. And so we say, well, we cannot keep going.
Time to bivouac, yeah.
Yeah, we cannot keep going. We can't even see where we're going. You know, we could be walking off a cliff or walking into the mouth of a jaguar or something. And so we decide we're going to stop. I make sure we find a couple trees so I could tie my hammock up. You know, his problem is he's got the ground. So, and we have to clear the brush underneath. So my hammock's going to be about 2 feet off the ground when I'm done. So I just want to make sure I clear the stuff so I don't have vines and things coming into my hammock. It's a little tiny nylon hammock. You know, when it's done, it's folded up. It's really small. And so I'm doing that, and I had my glasses on. You can't wear contact lenses out, you know, in the bush. So I have my glasses on, my Ray-Ban aviators, and it starts raining. So what do? You take your glasses off, you put them in your pocket, right? Okay, and I'm chopping my stuff down, and he decides he's going to do a really good job and chop them so that they're like 3 inches from the ground. And when you use a machete, things bend, right? It's not, doesn't like just cut straight through. So I bend over, my glasses fall out. So it's one of those, okay, don't anybody move. My glasses are here somewhere.
Somewhere in the brush.
And then you hear the proverbial,
Crunch.
what? Crunch. And I don't see very well out of my right eye. I don't wear a contact in this eye. But this eye is for close people. But this, my right eye, I need something. So, crunch, I get the glasses, and of course, my right lens is broken. and you're already hungry,
Wet.
wet, it's raining, you're in the middle of a place that's completely dark, you can't see, no starlight, no moonlight. So I get in my hammock, and because it's raining, you have an umbrella, you roll up in a fetal position, right? Like this. So some number, and you can't really sleep, but you're exhausted. So some number of hours later, all of a sudden you have that cartoon moment where the hammock goes, "Voot."
Yeah.
Okay?
I fell asleep.
Yeah, well, and I woke up as my shirt is punctured by these stakes coming up from the ground from how he did this. And I still have the shirt. It was a white Brooks Brothers, you know, the kind of shirt I would wear, right? White Brooks Brothers button-down shirt. And because we were just going to the beach. This was a leisurely walk that far to the beach. Yeah. So my back is punctured, my shirt is ripped, my glasses are broken, it's raining. We're just waiting for the baboons to attack us.
Right.
Nice, no blood.
Yeah. And then the fear, of course, is if you disappear in there, nobody's ever going to know what happened to you. So then you start, your imagination can really take you strange places as to what is my family going to do when they don't even know where I am. Just disappeared in Costa Rica. The sun comes up and it's great. It's a fantastic day. And we just have to get to the top. And we know the Pacific Ocean is right there.
Gotta be. Logically.
So, and then you have those other moments. We get to the top, and of course, it's not the Pacific Ocean. And by this time, when you get there, you're saying you're pessimistic, right? Expect the worst, hope for the best, but expect the worst. So you're not going to be surprised, but logic tells you it has to be, because we keep coming over these hills and valleys, and of course it's not the Pacific, and we're going down, and then there's one of those other moments you see where you slip and you just go down, because this is like clay.
After the rain, right?
And
Indiana Jones.
and then you know you're now orange colored, right? You're not bathed. You don't have anything to wash with, and you're just walking just because you can't stop, because you want to keep going, but because
If you do what the hell, you get nowhere.
yeah,
Giving up.
you can't do that. So the story, you know, to make the story move along, by about 9 o'clock that night, we got to a clearing at the top of the thing. And there was the Pacific. The moon was shining over the Pacific.
9 o'clock at night.
And our feet are blistered. And by the end, this guy was like this. Step, step, I have to take a break. Step, step, I can't go on anymore. And, you know, human thing is, first you go through encouraging people, right? You know, what is the strategy I need to do to get this guy to keep going? Because we are not going to make it if we take walk 6 feet and then rest for 10 minutes.
Or he's not going to make it.
Well, I'm not going to make it if I'm there with him.
Yeah.
We just aren't going to get anywhere. So you go through all of these things, and then finally it's goodbye. You know, you get to that, because otherwise this person is controlling your destiny. And when it was goodbye, and I'm out of sight, then it's, okay, I've just found some more energy. I'll catch up. Wait! Wait!
That's right.
Now you're not really best friends anymore, right? Not that we're best friends when we started, but at that point you're not. So we get up there, we see the Pacific, we see the moon, and it's, okay, great, now what? Because I have gone through some of these things before, where you get to the beach, you decide you're going to spend the night on the beach because it's kind of the safest thing, but then the tide comes in and your campsite is swamped, and you're running for your life back into the jungle. So So it's now what? Okay, there's the Pacific. The good news is it's just right down there. It's like maybe half a mile. And there's trails. And there's just a little light from a house. You can see a little shack down there. So this is in 1980. At that time, people are just as likely to shoot you as welcome you. So you don't want to sneak up on anyone. So fortunately, we met a family that had, I don't know, 6, 8 kids living in a one-room shack. And the roof is lifted about 6 inches from the sides because they have a fire in there, an open fire. And they need to let the smoke out. But you don't want to let all of the smoke out because mosquitoes are man-eaters down there. They're like an inch long. And they just swarm on you. One time I was following this guy on a different moronic trip. And I'm ahead of him, as usual. And he says, "Do I have a mosquito on my back?" I feel like something's biting me. Is there a mosquito on my back? And they tell you don't swat them off because if they have their thing in you, you don't want to have it inside of you because it could get infected. Okay, Alberto. I turn around. He turns around and he's got like 500 mosquitoes on his back.
Wow.
Huge black mosquitoes.
That fur, yeah.
What did you tell him? No.
No, you're
Well, you
right.
kind of go through that. Should I run? Or what do you do?
What's the solution?
Because what are they going to come after me?
It's only one, man.
Now, at that time, before you went to Costa Rica, and you look at what do I need to do, what kind of vaccinations and things, and say start taking Brewer's 60 days before you go because mosquitoes don't like it. It emits an odor that mosquitoes don't like. So I had been doing that, so I wasn't having the same problems he had. Not that I was having 0, but I didn't have 500 mosquitoes on my back.
Well, do you even have a shirt on?
Yeah, this is through his army jacket. These are man-eaters. These are not like the mosquitoes you see in California, little tiny things.
They've got killers.
So this house, the roof is built up above the sides so the smoke can get out, but you need to have smoke to drive off the mosquitoes. And as somebody from here, we're not used to sleeping in a smoke-filled room.
No.
But anyway, the people were very nice. The next morning, they made us a nice breakfast of eggs and whatever. Went down to the beach, and then what happened?
Yes. Bit by something in the
No.
water.
Then there was a realization.
You gotta go back.
No, we got to go back.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's
Take a half back.
And it was just, we can't do that. Now, but it didn't take long to figure out, well, these people must know how to get back.
different way.
Okay. And so then it was hiking north along the beach. Then there was a lagoon. Follow the lagoon, cut through some banana plantations. There's a little village of natives in there, and they'll treat us overnight. Then at 4 o'clock in the morning, we have to get up and get in the canoe and paddle through the lagoon to this town. And that's like out of Disneyland, out of the Jungle Cruise. Okay, except you're paddling, but that's where the snakes are hanging from the branches that are over the lagoon. And it's a very small lagoon. You're waiting for the creature to come up out of the water and swamp your boat. So then we get back to the bus station, and you have 2 guys standing there. My hair is completely slicked back from mud, from the clay. My face is all mud, my shirt, pants, and we get on this bus, and for everybody else it was just normal, all the natives. But the point to that story is to get to where you want to go, sometimes you have to go through a lot of stuff you didn't want to go through. Okay, to get to the Pacific Ocean, is good. And on that video we watched, you know, you can imagine
Why you want to get
how it
there?
would be
Yeah.
if you're Andrew McCarthy and you get to the Pacific Ocean and you see this beach and there's nobody there, but there's coconut trees, and you have your machete and you just whack the top off of one and you can drink it. You know, this is
Yeah,
perfect, right?
Life is good.
Except for sometimes to get there, you might have to spend 2 full days walking through a literal jungle, hacking your way through a jungle to get there. And so the point is, on the employment planning, it's the same thing. You know, getting a calling or destiny position is, I can assure you, it's a lot easier than walking across the Oso Peninsula with another moment. But you have to be willing to go through the stuff that's not so fun to do it. And here, and I'm saying here in Las Vegas, but also I'm saying here because my hunch is in LA, it's going to be the same thing regarding the resumes. They have to be perfect. They have to be perfect. You just have to make them perfect. So what I encourage is share your resumes with other people, because other things will pop out. So one thing I just want to really stress, the resume is going to have to be perfect. The kind of company that you are going to want to have as a destiny or calling position that you're going to want to work for free, they're not going to accept less than perfection. Okay, because like we saw in today's TED Talk, you know, you can imagine, or what we remember from the Steve Jobs movie, you know, the expectations are very high on employees. Okay, they want people who are drinking the Kool-Aid. They want people who believe what they believe. Your opportunity to convince them that's you is at the interview. The resume is what got you there. And if you have mistakes on your resume, you probably won't even get to the interview.
Didn't you say that we could PDF them? No.
So in today's thing, I'm saying, I said in today's description,
Plenty of times before this stuff.
I have said it plenty of times before, but really you should do it in Word. But I've always said if you can't get it done in Word, do a PDF. So if you cannot do Word here, make it perfect in terms of content and just save it as a PDF.
And that's not getting to the ocean, is it? That's not getting to the beach.
Well, if they get it and it's a PDF, if somebody gets it and it's a PDF, they're going to be thinking, is this person smart? And they did it as a PDF because somebody really smart would do it as a PDF. Is this person clever? Are they doing it as a PDF because they don't really know Word? They probably won't think that. They're going to tend to think, oh, this person is smart. They sent it as a PDF. They have good training. Because when you get a PDF, you really can't edit it. It's hard to edit. You can do some things and take it out of PDF, but it's a lot of work for the little game. So the thing for today, I would say to people, because in Las Vegas, we need to get these things on the downtown project, but they need to be better than the ones from yesterday, and that's okay. You know, we can change them. That's one of the great things about this thing called the internet, is we can replace stuff all the time. It doesn't have to be perfect today. It should be perfect today. It doesn't have to be, because we can replace it in 2 minutes if we have something better. So I think it's more important to focus on a compelling resume. And the resume has to be, why should we want to interview you? That's the question you need to ask. Why should we interview you? And the other common theme is we haven't broken out of our programming, which is me thinking, what is in it for me working for you? Go back to Ashton Kutcher's thing of, I was never better than any job I had. Okay? I was not better than any job. Go back to that and think about it as just getting, you know, it's the camel getting its nose under the tent. Just get the job. You can always quit. You can always use it as a stepping stone to get a better job. This isn't a lifetime commitment. thing is to get that good job. So one example yesterday was, if you have a job today, let's say it's in a restaurant, you get a job as a dishwasher in the downtown project. And 2 months later, you get hired by, let's say, Outback to be a dishwasher in the Outback, at an Outback restaurant. And then 2 months later, you get a job to work at Caesar's Palace as a dishwasher. And 2 months after that, you get a job as a busboy at a nicer restaurant at Caesar's Palace. Is an interviewer going to automatically say that person, we don't like that person because they always move?
No.
What are they going to say?
They're going to say they have incentive, they keep moving up.
Yeah, they're going to say this person's track record is they keep moving up. Now, in the interview, if this person is saying, I really want to work here, and I took those jobs to prepare me to work here, because I knew you wouldn't hire me. A year ago, you wouldn't hire me for this job here. But if I did this, and then this, and then this, and then this, I would bring a lot more skills plus my passion to be here. So don't think of that as a bad strategy. Think of that as part of, to get to the top of the mountain, sometimes you have to go through the stuff you don't want to do. You have to go hacking your way through the jungle to get there. So, I want to make it very clear that the employment plan, the proactive employment plan, doesn't say you're automatically going to land your destiny job. It depends on your ambition and your sights. If you want to be a chef at one of the Gordon Ramsay restaurants, okay, you're not going to go from here to there. There's going to be steps in between, and that's part of your plan. Now, you might have more less ambitious goals, like Richard with working for a cab company. And if when I talk to Richard, what do you like to do? It's a great job. It could be a calling destiny position. So the idea is to get one with the best cab company.
Correct.
And so that's okay. So the employment plan doesn't say the job that you're going to get, if you do this plan, you will automatically get your calling or destiny. You will, unless your calling or destiny is 2 steps away. But that needs to be part of your plan. I'm going to go here, then I'm going to go there, and I'm going to go to the next place, and then I'm going to get to where I want. Or let's say you want to be a paralegal. Okay, well, in California, you have to go to school to be a paralegal. I don't know if you do here, but you might have to have training working in a law office somewhere doing something else. So you might have to start as a clerk or something, a receptionist in a law firm, to get the opportunity to actually be on track to become a paralegal. So the first thing I want to say is, don't think that what the Larson Proactive Employment Plan says is whatever you want to be, you can go from here to that. Okay, we're not saying whatever you want to be, you can go from here to that. You can't go from here to being an astronaut. So whoever it was that said they wanted to be an astronaut, please, you can't go from here to astronaut. There's a whole bunch of steps in between.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay? Huh?
That's the only reason I came here.
Well, okay, there we have it. So the other thing is, your resume, as I've said, your resume has to reflect you. The fundamental purpose of the interview is, are you the person who we wanted to interview? Are you the person who's on this resume? So the template is not meant to be a put these things down if they're not you. Okay, so in the notes for today, it says, like, if you are not punctual or if you're not this,
Right, I read that.
don't say you are. Change it to be what you are. The template is a guide. Now, it happens to be a guide for the things that employers look for. But if you're not that, guess what? They're going to find out in the interview, and it's going to be over.
So you can say, I am that on occasion? Is that what you're implying?
Well, if you're not that, don't say
Just
that.
don't say it.
Figure out what you are. So, in other words, maybe instead of, you know, I'm an action-oriented person, I am a methodical person. Instead, so on the left, it could be methodical, and then a description over on the right. Let's see, I'm trying to think of what are some other examples of what it says on there, on the resume.
Something about being honest.
Okay, if you're not honest, don't say you're honest.
Don't say it. Dependable is another one.
Okay, if you're not dependable, don't say you're dependable.
Communication.
Oh,
Because
really?
they might ask you a question. Can you give me an example of how you're dependable? And then you're going to do this.
I show up for work every day.
You're going to look up. You're going to pause. You're going to be thinking of, oh, let me come up with something where I was dependable. And it has to be really good. And in that 2 seconds it takes for you to figure out what that is, yeah, they're not going to believe you. And then they're going to ask more probing questions.
Also, when they ask you, what are your weak points?
Okay.
You don't want to tell them, well, I'm sometimes late.
Well, I wouldn't say I have none. Now, okay, so that's a good question. That has come up before.
I'm sure I have them, but I don't focus on them.
Okay, well, that's not sincere. So here's it goes back to, is the guy having a good day, a bad day, or somewhere in between? If a guy's having a good day, and I have a rapport, and he says, what are one of your weaknesses? I would say, my biggest weakness?
Giving people the benefit of the doubt.
No. Oatmeal raisin cookies.
All right.
I can't see an oatmeal raisin cookie that I don't like.
I'll eat them all.
And that's the response you will get.
Yeah.
Now, what just happened?
You got
Okay.
We started bonding,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
He's having a bad day. You don't want to say
If he's having a bad day, joking is usually not good.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you might have a joke about yourself where the guy might chuckle a little bit, but it's a very dangerous strategy.
Okay, so if we
implement.
say oatmeal raisin cookies and he's having a bad day, and it's like, get real. Let's get back to the interview
Okay,
now.
so
What
that's
are your
somebody.
weak points?
Okay, so that's somebody who I probably wouldn't say it to.
But
Who's
you
going
just
to come
say
back
that
and say,
ahead.
okay,
How
get
are
real.
you going to know that?
Because I've had a conversation with him before, meaning this is somewhere in the first 5 minutes.
You already
But it's
know.
not like I shook his hand and he said, what's your weakness? Right?
See, he's someone that you don't want.
Remember, when
So
you're
you
in
can
there,
tell it's business
when you are, okay, so before we get to that, when you are in there, you have to be focused on this guy. I need to figure out where this guy's coming from. What are the things that are important to this guy? You're not just focused internally on yourself. You need to look for opportunities and point them in that direction.
It's going to show you. You're going to be able to.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, he'll direct.
to some extent, but at least you're going to know, is he in a really good mood, a really bad mood, or somewhere in between? Okay, now, let's say the guy is just in a medium mood. What is one of your weaknesses? What are they expecting? They're expecting you to say something as a weakness that's not really a weakness. My weakness is I care too much for other people. Okay?
Good one.
They're expecting you to say something stupid like that because that's what everybody says. Okay? It's better to say something that they are going to like you and get that you're passionate about this. Okay? My biggest weakness is, well, what am I
My
implying?
family.
What am I applying? What's the job?
I don't know.
Well,
Supervisor maintenance.
Well,
Did I
tell
stay
me.
too late after
No,
work?
what is the job I'm applying for?
Dishwasher.
Okay, where?
Well, Caesar's Palace.
Okay, and so the guy's asking me, what is your biggest weakness?
Silverware.
No. So my biggest weakness, if
Go
I'm
for it.
applying for a job,
Cleanliness.
no, those would not be good. See, cleanliness is
Part of the job.
trying to turn a weakness into a positive.
Right.
Okay, that's not a good strategy to do because everybody else does that. So it would be good to talk about a weakness that they can say, oh, we can live with that. Okay.
Leftover food.
How about what if you were to say, like, I
I
pay
eat
too
all the
many
food
hours
I
and
got
sometimes I give you something below that?
I wouldn't say that. I would say something like, my biggest weakness is I have a slight aversion to sharp knives. Because when I was 5 years old, I reached my hand in some dirty water, or was cleaning some dishes, and I cut myself on a knife.
Right.
And I'm always thinking there's going to be a knife in
So you can use breaking dishes.
No.
there. No.
They gonna feel some kind of way about that.
Yeah. Okay. So, but okay. Now I'm being honest. When I was 5, I cut myself on a knife. I'm kind of afraid of knives.
Mm.
Okay. If you're afraid of mice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I don't like cockroaches. Okay. If the person says, yeah, I don't like them either.
You're good. You're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not bad. Okay. You're not bad. You know, if you say, I like chocolate pudding and I can't resist, if some plate comes in through the light, there's chocolate pudding on there. That wouldn't be good.
I told you it was about filters.
Take them like that.
That wouldn't be a good thing. So, but, you know, they're looking for, are you the person whose thing we have? And if you say you're passionate, okay, so there was an interview of the Pope. Pope was interviewed by the Jesuit magazine. They gave him a list of questions they were going to ask him, just so he knew where it was going.
It's to pick which ones he wants to ask.
But the guy who was doing the interview didn't come up with the questions, so he didn't know that. So the first question he asked the Pope was, who are you? Gave him his real name, or and his first answer he was like, I wasn't expecting that. He said, I am a sinner.
They're real.
And, you know, that's a weakness, right? So you have the Pope saying, you know, I am a sinner.
It's a fact.
Well, nobody's perfect.
Well, this is the Pope.
Yeah, we tell that.
So you wouldn't expect the Pope to lead off with, who are you? With, I am a sinner.
Only if he was so totally awesome and meant it.
Well, yeah, but nobody knew that at the time. So, you know, where we diverted was the stuff that's on the template is to be a guide. Now, those happen to be good skills that employers are looking for, but don't say you're that if you're not that, because they're going to figure it out, because they're going to ask you questions.
What is word? I don't know. PowerPoint, I have a clue.
Okay, you still have time to learn what word is.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't say you're proficient, and that word should be competent. If you're not. Okay, you can just say, you know, Word Basic, Microsoft Office Basic. That's the certificate people will get as we learn. So let's see, what are some other things on today's notes?
I just got one critique.
Yes.
You spelled everyone wrong.
Thank you.
You forgot
Anything
the one.
else?
You forgot the one. You just got every.
Every what?
That's it. Just every performed below their potential. Not every.
Well,
one.
every does.
Every does. Yeah. Every one. That was it, you know.
Well, you know what? I take that as a compliment. If I had one bad thing in that
That's it.
thing, I'll take that as a compliment.
Oh, there's some more.
Let's pile
I
on.
didn't read all. Okay, I
Pile
didn't read
on.
it all.
Okay, so what else is in there that anybody wants to talk
Not
about?
read every.
Or questions in California regarding your plan? My takeaway is to get to the top of the mountain, you have to go through everything in between. So be prepared for that and turn it into a positive. Questions in California?
No, Ed.
Okay, so what I encourage is please go through your resume, make your resume perfect. You have the time to do it here. Be colorful in your resume. Talk about things that you have done that are interesting to people. At the end of the day, if it's between you and someone else and your skills are exactly the same, but they like that person more as a person, guess who's going to get the position? That person. Okay, the person they like more. So, you know, be colorful, and I think one of the ways to share that is just team up with people and have them read your resume and have them point out, like, you know, well, what did you do here? What was this? Any stories about that? You know, think about stuff that people are interested in. Don't just, if this is not a officer, sergeant, what was his name in Dragnet?
Yeah.
Friday.
Friday. I'm saying just the facts, man.
Yeah,
Okay, this is not just the facts. This is stuff that is compelling, that makes you memorable, makes you the kind of, that is in line with your research of what do they believe in, what is important to them.
Then why did you fill this out for us?
As a starting point, because the format is a very good format. And those are things people should have. But if you're not that, don't say you're that.
Don't mail it into the guy. Huh?
Because they will know quickly.
Yeah.
And again, you should be applying for a place you are passionate about. It should be a company that is a good company, even if it is a stepping stone. Okay, because Gordon Ramsay isn't going to be impressed if you said I was a dishwasher at McDonald's. Okay, why?
They don't have dishes.
Exactly. Okay. He's not going to be impressed.
Exactly.
Or I was a dishwasher at Denny's.
Well, they got dishes.
They do, but it's not going to be impressive. It's going to be, you know, we're not interested in people who are dishwashers at Denny's.
What if you don't have any experience
I got turned down by
to date
Huh,
or the
don't tell
calling
them
or
that.
destiny that you want to
Okay, then you've got to think of your plan of how do I get there? What's the mountain I have to climb up to get there? And in these downtown project positions, aim low, because they care about passion. Don't aim high, aim low. Everybody, you know, we got people, I want to be lead cook, I want to do this.
Well,
Guess who else wants to be lead cook in a downtown project?
Everybody.
Everybody. Okay, including people who work at Gordon Ramsay's place, that are the #2 guy.
I had one employer tell me something similar to that, but it's kind of a, he said, I want somebody who wants my job. I want somebody who wants, work his way up to my position.
Work his way up.
Yeah, he didn't say work, he just says, I want somebody who wants my job.
Okay, but that he implied work his way up, right?
Yeah.
He didn't say I'm retiring tomorrow.
No.
I'm interviewing for my
But
replacement.
I understood what he was saying.
Yeah.
I want somebody who wants
So-
my job.
Get in with the downtown project. In the next 3 years, Tony Shea is going to be, what did they say they bought? 60 buildings?
Yeah, something.
Yeah, exactly.
Bunch of properties. 60 acres, wasn't it?
60 acres.
19 Yes, 60 acres.
Okay, they bought 60 acres.
That's a lot.
When Sherry and I were talking to Patrick, we said, do you have any buildings that you bought that you don't know what you're going to do with? And he just laughed his ass off.
Funny.
Yeah, like almost all of them.
Yeah, we've only got 6
Okay.
started, right?
Okay? So get in with the downtown
Ground
project.
floor.
You take the position of who do I have to kill to work there? Okay?
Like in your way.
You've heard it from Dave Gould saying Tony cares about passion. He hires people who care about passion. The woman here who was with Whole Foods, right? She left Whole Foods, which is a place that is passionate people. She left there to have this position. The cook they have did something similar, and you know, they're looking for people who are passionate first. And so remember, they're building stuff here. They have a transportation company that they're trying to build out. Oh, you want a bicycle? Oh, you're just going to go around here? You want a golf cart? Oh, you want this other? Oh, you want a Tesla because you want to drive somewhere else around? You want to go to Boulder Dam? You know, that might be something to get involved with because they might need people to bring the stuff back. Okay? They have money and ideas and stuff. Get in. Don't hold out for the best position. I would rather be the best guy on the JV team than a guy on the varsity team who never plays,
Right.
unless I'm a senior and I don't have a chance next year. But if I'm the best guy on the JV team, I think next year I have a chance to be a player on the varsity team. If I'm sitting on the bench on the varsity team, and where I went to Santa Clara, so I played on the team at Santa Clara. And if you're on the JV team, the guys who were on the varsity team that didn't play, they would come and play on the JV team. So you really had to be good to play on the JV team. You got to practice all week. But it's better to be the guy who plays and has a chance in the future. Now, if you don't have a chance to play next year, morning, if you don't have a chance to play next year, it's better to get the Super Bowl ring, right?
Yeah.
Than to be on the farm team or the World Series ring, than to be the best guy in AAA. If next year you're not going to be playing either. Okay, so, okay, it's break time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you in California. We'll see you Monday. We're going to get back to the schedule. I'm not sure what it is, what Google app we're going to be studying next week. Does anybody here know? Maybe we'll do voice. Okay, thank you, California.
Bye.
Okay, break time. Let's get back